So, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Today is an introductory session to the management level case study for August 2024. Today is an introductory session to the management level case study for August 2024. Right? So, if you technically look at the job in hand, we have to do a job. The job is for all of you all to do the August 2024 case study and pass the exam. For all of you all to do the August 2024 case study and pass the exam. That's the job in hand for me, for my team, and for you all. So we should work together in this journey. There are certain things that you got to do. There are certain things that I got to do. We got to work together. So let's try to look at the job in hand. What kind of a job, first of all. Then we might argue how we are going to do it. So first of all, let me give an explanation of the job in hand. So how are you, Chari? And how are you, Godfred? Nice to see you all. So let's try to get a basic understanding of the job in the hand. Are you guys ready? Do you think it's a good way to do it? Let's try to get the understanding of the job in hand. Say yes if you're okay, if you're ready. Say yes if you think that's the way to go ahead. Say yes if you think that's the way to go ahead. Others, what do you all think? Okay. So, very good. So, the job in hand is very, very simple. Job in hand is very, very simple. Unless you complicate it, I complicate it. Job in hand is very, very simple. The job in hand is to study the present pre-scene as the step number one. Seema is very, very clear in its mind. Seema wants you to pass. So Seema is saying, look here, you have the exams in August 2024 for management level case study. There's a pre-scene given about a company. All the questions on the exam day will be based on this pre-scene company. All the questions on the exam day will be based on this pre-scene company. Therefore, study very well about this company and come. So, when you go to the exam, you will get an exam paper. That entire exam paper is about what is happening to this particular company. So, step number one simply is to master the pre-scene. Not to read the pre-scene. Anyone can read the pre-scene. Anyone can read the pre-scene. Live in the pre-scene. Master the pre-scene. You got to live inside that pre-scene. You got to believe that's the company that you're working for. You got to think about that company all the time. You got to think about that company all the time. You need to believe that you're working for that company. So therefore, you can't read the pre-scene. I will have to put it in such a way that you believe you're working for that organization. That's the step number one. Simple step. Master the pre-scene available. Live in the pre-scene. Know the pre-scene very well. What kind of a company that you are going to work for. Because why? On the exam day, all the things that is given on the exam day are the things that is happening to this particular company. Exam day, all the questions will be based on what is happening inside this organization. Exam day, all the questions will be based on what is happening inside this organization. Therefore, we got to master the pre-scene. So, how to master the pre-scene? Simple. That is our learning step number one. Our learning step number one goes as KYP, and second one goes as KYI. Both are linked to each other. KYP is know your pre-scene. KYI is know your industry. Get to know the pre-scene, get to know the industry. Get to know the pre-scene, get to know the industry. Get to know the pre-scene, get to know the industry. So KYP is know your pre-scene, a nice PowerPoint presentation which summarizes the pre-scene for you, which gives a lot of additional explanations about the pre-scene. That is where we are going to start. So where is this? Where is the KYP? It's available in our learning management system, LMS. When you do get the access, when you enter your username and password, there will be a section called KYP. When you click on KYP, you will be able to see this nice document called KYP. That's the starting point. That's the starting point. So guys, some of you all came late. Some of you all came late. Some of you all came about 7 minutes late. No harm. But just to give a brief, those who came late, can you say late? Those who came late for the fun. Those who came late, can you say late so we can see who came late? Okay. Some people came about 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes late, but that's fine. That's fine. That's fine because we understand some people can't come on time. So let me give a quick brief of what I have been saying. We have a job in hand. You and me got to do a job in hand. That is to pass management level case study in August 2024 without a problem. So for that, we need to understand what kind of a job that we need to do. Step number 1 is to be familiar with the pre-scene. We do it through a document called KYP. You will see the KYP on the screen now. So this is the document that is available on the screen now. This is the document that we need to master. This is what the pre-scene is all about. And here is the KYP. So here is the document that you need to master. Here is the document that you need to master. So when you look at this document itself, you will understand what kind of a company we are talking about. We are talking about purpose-built student accommodation. What the hell is that? Purpose-built student accommodation is we are a company who will provide accommodation for the university students. We are a company that will provide accommodation for university students. But why do we call it purpose-built? Why do we call it purpose-built student accommodation? Because there are a lot of other student accommodation available. There are a lot of other student accommodation available. When you have a big house, you will rent 2 rooms. That is also student accommodation. But that is not purpose-built student accommodation. These are the student accommodation that were built for that particular purpose. So let's go and do a little details about this organization. This is what we call KYP, know your pre-scene. The case study for this session focuses on a company called Flat Hall. The name of the company is Flat Hall. It's a really nice, interesting, fun company. A lot to learn about this company. And they're not a small organization. They have 174 residential buildings. 174 residential buildings. And which are rented to students attending college and universities nearby on full-time basis. We give it to the students. We give it to the students. So this is what we call the purpose-built student accommodation in Russia. So depending on the country, my dear friends, depending on the country. So if you go to kind of an Asian country, if you go to a government university in the Asian country, there are a lot of accommodation outside the university. Think about the university that you are aware of. Think about any university that you know. There are accommodation outside the university. But most of these accommodation are not purpose-built. Some are, yes. Sometimes they build about 4 floors. And each floor you have 10 rooms. So that's a purpose-built student accommodation, but very small. But we are a company who got 174 buildings across the country for the purpose-built student accommodation. 174 buildings across the country. So we are a large organization. Now, where do you find these? Education has become very different in certain countries. Let me take Australia. I mean, very similar in UK, very similar in USA, but let me take Australia. So let's say there is an Australian university available. Let's say there is an Australian university available. Unlike in some of the Asian countries, the government will say, we don't want to run the universities. Government will say, we don't want to run the universities. So they will appoint a private partner to run the university. So private partner will build the university and run the university. But the government will need to ensure the students in the country will get free university education or at a discounted price. So what government will do is, government will tell the universities, we will pay you a fee for each student that you register from our nation. Each student that you register from our nation will pay you a fee. Now, how the private sector education works there is a private company is running the university, but each student that they take, government will pay the money to the university, so student will get the education free or at a discounted price. So that's the very nice model available. However, government will give an additional advantage for these guys. Government will tell them, if you want, you can take foreign students. You go to any other country, have a small branch, register the people for your university in Australia. You can take overseas students. Some governments will say maximum of 20%. Some governments will say maximum of 15%, whatever the X percentage. But otherwise, government will say, please go and take overseas students. The fun part is, government will tell them, you can charge a higher fee from them, a different fee from them. So all the universities are now allowed to go into the Asian countries, get the students in, and they will go have a small branch or partner, promote to get the students to come into Australia and live in Australia and do the university degree. With that, what happens is, there's a large community of students who need full-time accommodation. Large community students who need full-time accommodation. The universities will build the accommodation inside. But very soon, the universities will argue, I mean, why should I build a building and get the students to sleep? I should build a building and get the students to learn. I am an academic organization. I should teach. If I have a building, I should use that building to teach, not to get the students to come and sleep. So with that argument, large organizations are building large apartments outside the university, very close to the university, to be rented only for the university students, and that is what we call purpose-built student accommodation industry. We are a company like that, purpose-built student accommodation industry. We are a company like that. We are in a country called, our name of our company is Flatall, and we are a company like that. So chapter 1, you will have all the information that you would love to see. So name of the company is Flatall. We are not a small company. We are a publicly listed company. We are in a country called Tolan. We are in a country called Tolan. We are in a country called Tolan. So which is the country where we are based. Right? And just to tell you further details of it, we own. That means buildings belongs to us. We manage. We are not outsourced the management. We do manage. The buildings are owned by us. We are not taking the buildings from anyone. We have built the buildings. We have built the buildings. That means we should have a strong construction now. 174 residential buildings across the country to Holland, which are divided into apartments rented to full-time students attending college, and we accommodate 78,000 students in all 174 buildings. So our industry, funny enough, is called PBSA, Purpose-Built Student Accommodation. We are an old company. We established in 1994. We have 174 buildings and 78,000 students. So this is very briefly the organization. We are very high profitable organization. My gosh. Can you see? We are very high profitable. Net profit margin 40%. I don't see companies with net profit margin of 40% easily. Net profit margin of 40%. We will argue about it very soon. We'll argue about why 40% and how 40%. We'll argue why and how 40%. Very low gearing. Gearing is 27%, which means debt. What is the percentage of debt? Which means debt divided by debt plus equity, total capital is only 27%. So when you take the total capital, debt and equity both, when you add them up, out of that, what percentage is debt? That is 27%. That is 27%. So this is our company, my dear friends. This is our company, my dear friends. There are 21 million students. There are 21 million students in the country, full-time students. So we are fairly small in that sense. If you look at the board of directors, we have a CEO who is a Sri Lankan, Pasan Fernando, director for property portfolio. He is the man who will keep on building the student accommodation. We have a customer service director who is the customer service director who go and meet the students and see whether they're happy, whether they got everything they want. Operations director, IT director, and finance director. So this is very brief what our organization is all about. So when we start the course from the next week, we'll have a lot of fun by looking at this KYP as the step number 1. Our step number 1 is to look at the KYP. We will go through the company overview and introduction to the industry. We need to learn about the industry, our service and operation, how do we operate, what is our business model, what is our management structure, what is our ratios, competitor information. Each chapter we need to go through and understand how does it work. So when you go into chapter 2, the chapter 2 will talk about chapter 3. Chapter 3 will talk about how our services and the structure of the building is also given. This is the structure of the building. Bedroom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 bedrooms, 1 communal area for the people to come and have a chat and all that, and common bathrooms are available. And this is the structure of each floor. This is the structure of each floor. And one setup looks like this. Can you see? You have one here, another one here, another one here. Likewise, there are so many in one location. Right? So many in one location. 78,000 students all over. So then when you go to chapter 4, we learn about our business model. How does it work? When you go to chapter 6, it will be fun where we look at all the ratios. Don't worry. Don't worry about the ratios. We have time to go through. I'll explain all the ratios, how they are calculated and all that. I'll explain all the ratios, how they are calculated and all that. We have time to go through that. We have time to go through that. So this is the profit and loss account. Revenue of 731 million. Profit for the year is 296 million. My gosh. You make a profit of 296 million when your revenue is 700 million. So 296 million divided by 735 million is our net profit ratio. Is our net profit ratio. Is our net profit. I have given it before, but the detailed financial analysis is coming little later. Detailed financial analysis is coming in little later. So we can do that later. I'm not trying to do it now. I'm just trying to tell you the job in hand. Job in hand. So we can look at, my gosh, we have a finance cost. Huh? We have a finance cost, but I am confused. Last year it was 176 million. This year it's 224 million. So finance cost has gone up by 27%. Finance cost has gone up by 27%. So we need to go to the balance sheet and see the loans. In the balance sheet, we can see assets. And then when you go to the liability side, we can see non-current liability. My gosh, we have borrowed more money for this year. The loans also has gone up by 27%. That means interest rate remain the same, but we have borrowed 27% of more loans, and the interest expense also has gone up by 27%. Also has gone up by 27%. Right? So if you want, we can quickly calculate the gearing ratio, because I showed it to you before. Gearing is equal to debt capital divided by total capital. When you say total capital, that means debt and equity. When I say total capital, that is debt and equity. Debt capital divided by total capital into 100 is the gearing. Right? Is the gearing. Can you quickly calculate? Can you please calculate this? Everyone, please calculate now. Debt is 2,800. Debt is 2,800. Everyone, please calculate now. Equity is 7,337. Can you please calculate the gearing now? Take 1 minute. Everyone, give me the ratio. Everyone, don't sleep. Please calculate now. By debt plus equity. Debt is 2,800, equity is 7,337. Please calculate debt divided by debt plus equity. What is the ratio? What is the ratio? Others, online education should be, you should get involved heavily with me. You can't just relax. Others, please calculate. If you're not clear, you tell me you're not clear. If you're not clear, say not clear. If you're not clear, say not clear. If you're not clear, say not clear. Others, please calculate. Okay. So you technically you don't need to calculate because all those are given in this section of the KYP. If you go here, you will see all the ratios are given. See whether gearing ratio is here. Gearing ratio, is it here? Not in this page. Not in this page. Go to the next page. The gearing may be on the next page. Wow. Not in this page as well. Second page is also not available. Go to the third page. Go to the third page. Gearing ratio. 27.62 is the gearing ratio. So the step number 1 is to learn this crazy company called Flat Hole who is doing the student accommodation. Okay. Are you clear of our step number 1? Are you clear of our step number 1? Everyone, please say clear if you are clear. If you are not clear, please say not clear. If you are clear, please say clear. If you need to ask any questions from what I did so far, please do ask questions. If everything is clear, you can say clear. So I can move on to the next area of our job in hand. Then we can move on to the next area of our job in hand. Okay, so next area is fun. Next area is all about learning the industry, how the UK student accommodation works, how the UK student accommodation works, how the student accommodation will work in the Australia, what are the issues that are faced by them, what kind of companies are there in the student accommodation market. Next step is nothing else but to learn about the industry. For that, we have a nice document called KYI, Know Your Industry. I'm not going to go through that document now in the interest of time, but when we start the course, we will be going through that. So why you're trying to study the pre-scene this much? Because on the exam day, we will get all our questions based on this pre-scene. All our questions based on this pre-scene. So let me tell you about the exam paper now. Let me tell you about the exam paper now. Did my screen get a little bigger suddenly? Did my screen get a little bigger suddenly? Something happened from my end. Did my screen get a little bigger? Or you see in the same way, right? You did not see screen getting bigger, nothing. Same, okay, then no problem. Now listen carefully. Please listen carefully. Please listen carefully. On the exam day, they will give you a 3-hour paper. On the exam day, they will give you a 3-hour paper. Entire paper is online. Entire paper is online. No handwritten papers. 3-hour paper, which looks like four emails from your boss. Which looks like 4 emails from your boss. And each email, you have 45 minutes to reply. Each email, you have 45 minutes to reply. The email comes to you on the screen. In the emails, there are usually attachments available. So here also there will be attachment. We call it reference material. In the email, we call it an attachment. Here on the exam day, we call it reference material. So you can read the email, you can read the reference material. You can read the reference material. You have 45 minutes to respond to the email. Each email is one part of the question paper, and your reply is your answer on the exam day. Your reply is your answer on the exam day. On the exam day, what do they tell you? They will tell you something that is happening to flat tall. They will tell you something that is happening to flat tall, nothing else. They will say, last week there was a big problem. One of our buildings, out of 174 buildings that we have, one building was on fire. So the students were safe, but the building was on fire, which is a very, very bad situation we had. So then examiner will ask, how do we manage this situation? Those are the very practical questions that you will be seen on the exam day. So I'm not trying to show you a exam paper for that purpose because we have enough time to do that. However, just for you to look at the format, the format of a paper will be like this. So there will be 4 different sections. Sorry. I did open the wrong one, looks like. So let me open a right one, right? So there'll be 4 different, I'm just trying to show you a format only, my dear friends, right? So when you go to the exam, you will see 4 different sections. Each section is there for 45 minutes. Each section, there'll be 2 questions mostly or 3 questions on the exam day. Then you go into section number 1, which looks like an email from your boss. Here, finance director is writing to you. There's a story given in the email. An examiner will ask 2 questions. Question 1, question 2, related to the company, related to our company. That is the job that is available for you on the exam day. That is the job that is available for you on the exam day. So step number 1 is to know the pre-scene very well. For that, we have 2 documents, KYP, KYI. So in our course, we are going to start with the KYP. Then we are going to go into KYI. Those are the first 2 things that we'll be doing. After you do that, right? After you do that, third step is what we call GR. Third step is what you call GR. GR stand for ground rules. This is where we discuss all the rules available for you on the exam day. This is where we discuss all the rules available for you on the exam day, ground rules. What you should be doing on the exam day, what you should not be doing on the exam day, all of them will be discussed in this section. GR stand for ground rules. So step number 1 is KYP, fun. Step number 1 is to learn the industry KYI. Step number 3 is GR. Step number 4 is DD. What is DD? Is a deep dive. Step number 4 is a deep dive. We do an in-depth analysis of the pre-scene. In the KYP, we just read the pre-scene. In the KYP, we just read and understand. In the deep dive, we challenge what is given in the pre-scene, argue what is given in the pre-scene. That is what you call the deep dive. That is what you call the deep dive. Right? Then we go into something very, very important. So these are the first 4 steps. I hope you are clear on the first 4 steps. Right? Then we go into, so let me show the first 4 steps on the screen now, because you have seen it, right? So you can see the first 4 steps on the screen now, right? So these are the first 4 steps. KYP, KYI, ground rules, deep dive, right? Then what do? Then we will give you mock number 1. Then we will give you mock number 1. Not that you are going to do mock number 1, but you look at the mock number 1. We'll give you mock number 1 answer as well. You look at mock number 1 answer. Try to understand what kind of questions comes, what kind of answers are supposed to be written, what kind of size involved, what kind of difficulty levels involved. You get a rough idea about it. Then we start the next section, which we call reality. Reality is you do mock number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the exam engine of ours, which is very, very similar to SEMA exam engine. You do mock number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the exam engine, and that will be a great practice for you. We call it reality. Next section is about refresh theory. There are 3 theory subjects behind the case study: E2, P2, F2. E2, P2, F2. I teach all E2, P2, F2 for you. Mr. Mark will help me to do some parts of it where he's an expert in those areas, and we teach you E2, P2, F2 fully for you. Nanaska is our institute. You registered with Nanaska. The purpose of Nanaska is to build a business leader for the world. So we go beyond ensuring you passing the exam. Therefore, there are some theories that we know will not be tested. Still, we'll go through those theories with you. There are some people who came directly through the FLP, Financial Leadership Program. Those are not done E2, P2, F2. Don't worry at all. You don't need to go through those theories now. We teach all E2, P2, F2 for you. Myself and Mr. Mark will teach all E2, P2, F2 for you. Because our purpose is to build a better business leader for the world, and for us to do that, it'll be nice for you to have a broader understanding in life, not only what is good enough to pass the exam. And we have live discussions that are happening continuously. Every Sunday we have classes. During the week, I'll send you some videos. You got to do the mock paper. So now this is the job in hand. But what is needed from you, what I'm going to do, you got to allocate 1 hour every day for our management level case study. On the weekends, whatever the weekend for you, Oman weekend, maybe Friday, I don't know. Whatever the weekend, you got to do a mock paper, 3-hour mock paper. You got to do a mock paper. Let's be fair, my dear friends. It's a job for 7 weeks. Let's allocate our time, our resources, everything during this 7 weeks and pass the exams somehow. That's the initial introduction that I wanted to give you. I'm Channa Gunawardana. My name is Channa Gunawardana. I'm the Executive Director at Dankutu Porcelain PLC. Earlier, I worked as a director for Aiken Spence Garments, director CEO for Aiken Spence Garment. Now I'm the executive director and the CEO for Dankutu Porcelain. I'm a SEMA fellow member. I'm a chartered fellow member. I done my MBA from USQ, University of Southern Queensland. I have first class degree from University of Jawaharlal. That's my educational background. I do I do read for my PhD these days. And outside Danko, to outside my educational background, I'm part of the SEMA Global Council in London, so I get to know what the overall game plan is. Our job, more than the qualification experience, is to ensure you be a better business leader for the world, and we are committed to do whatever that is required to achieve that. So next week, or before the next week, you can go to the LMS, Learning Management System, start looking at the KYP. You don't need to read the KYP. You can watch the videos available on the KYP. I will mark some videos that you needed to go through. I will mark some videos that you needed to go through. You can do it from now itself. You don't need to wait till next Sunday, because when the WhatsApp group is created, when you register, I will keep on talking to you and saying, go through this video, go through this video. You can watch the video and ask questions in the WhatsApp group. And it's a journey for 6 to 7 weeks. Let's ensure it's fun. Let's ensure you learn a lot. Let's ensure you enjoy the session. Okay. So this is my usual introduction, and usually this takes about 30 to 35 minutes. Usually this takes about 30 to 35 minutes. Now, please ask questions. If everything is clear, if you are looking forward for the session, I'm happy, then say that. But if you need to ask any questions, here is the time. Please type all the questions now. Please type all the questions now. So this question came up before as well. So therefore, I will try to answer that. I'm writing the MCS exam for the first time and really nervous about due to work pressure. Lack of time. This is not about time. This exam is not about time. You don't get so much of work to be done. You're thinking, as long as you get in line with our thinking, you pass the paper. So don't worry. It's a doable job. Every week we follow up with you. What is the work that you need to do? Have you done it or not? There will be follow-up that is happening. I know all of you guys are working professionals like me. So therefore, we have structured our course for the working professionals. We will not ask you to do 3 hours of work every day, 1 hour a day. And maybe during the weekend, you need to allocate 3 hours to do a mock paper. So don't worry. We know you guys are working, and we have structured the course accordingly. Right? Are you clear? Pankaj? Pankaj, are you clear? How will we cover theory sessions? You're not going to cover theory. I'm going to do it. You don't need to worry. I will teach all the theories in an additional session. Maybe the weekdays, we might have additional 2-3 hour sessions to cover it. So elaborate the process. Asiri, so we will do separate sessions. I'll go through all the theory part. Anything else you would like to know? How many classes we have on weekdays and how many weekend? Every weekend we have a class. We might have about 3-4 classes during the week. But when the exams are closed, we'll have classes for 4 days a week in the last week. That I'm sure you will understand, right? Asiri, anything else you need to know? Asiri is asking, will you provide theory material for us to study at home? Yes. All the theory material is available, but you don't need to study. I will teach. You come for the session, sit, relax, and watch the session and ask the questions, clarify it then and there. Clarify it then and there. It can't do, I mean, you guys are working. You can't go through 200 pages of theory and come and ask questions. I will teach. You ask the questions then and there. We close it then and there. Okay. Further questions. Please type all the questions available. Please type all the questions. The time for the classes on the weekends, we'll have a admin team let you know the exact timing. Our admin team will let you know the exact time. So theory covered in class will be enough for the case study. It will be enough more than for the case study. Sir, instead of, this is an interesting question. Instead of class session, can we have an interactive class where we can also speak? Of course, yes. We'll divide you into small groups where you will be able to say whatever you wanted to say. Right? This question I have answered. Yes, this question I have answered. Okay, anything else? Any other questions? Okay, others, are you clear of everything that I said? Others, are you clear of everything that I said? So I will ensure sessions are kind of enjoyable, little fun. Whatever you do, you should enjoy doing it. Whatever you do, you should enjoy doing it. Otherwise, what will happen is you will not like it, you will feel it boring, and your full energy will not come in. So whatever we do, we should enjoy doing. Right? So you should think about why you are doing SEMA. I mean, SEMA is a global qualification. SEMA is not more a management accounting qualification. SEMA is not anymore a management accounting qualification. SEMA is a business qualification. SEMA is a business qualification. It's not more anymore a management accounting qualification. It's a business qualification. Right? So there are two more questions which I'll answer. I am weak in F2, so need to study F2 textbook. Most people hate F2. Most people hate F2. Therefore, we will teach you F2 in detail. Please, no need to go and study the study text. No need to go and study the study text. I will teach F2. A lot of people hate F2, but I will do F2 in a way that you will enjoy. Right? Are the we are learning in next 7 weeks applicable only for upcoming? Yes, they are applicable for August exams. November will be a different pre-seed. November will be a different pre-seed. Right. So I was trying to explain something else. SEMA is no more a management accounting qualification. SEMA is very different now. SEMA is a business qualification now. SEMA is like a mini MBA. You will change the way you think. The hardcore accounting, the detail accounting requirements have gone out of SEMA. More practical questions are there in SEMA. It's a business qualification. It is like a mini MBA now. It is like a mini MBA now. And when you have the SEMA qualification, your thinking will change. The value that others perceive on you will change. That can make a big difference in your life. So let's finish it. Let's finish the management level case study in August. Let's not allocate one more day, single day on the management level case study. That should be our dream together. I will do whatever it takes for you to ensure you pass the exam this time. I will do whatever it takes for you to pass the exam this time. At Nanaska, we believe if you fail, we fail. Therefore, we'll do whatever that is possible for you to pass the exam. We do whatever that is possible for you to pass the exam. What is needed now is to have that common goal in our hand, start working. You can register ASAP with Nanaska, get the access to the LMS, Learning Management System, start watching maybe one video before next Sunday. Maybe you can watch two because you are Sunday morning and Saturday, right? Watch two videos, come. So then you are ahead of me. It will be easy for you to understand. It will be easy for us to play the game. We'll have a lot of activities happening, my dear. We divide you into small groups and we ask those small groups to do a lot of work. All will talk to each other in the small groups. It'll be fun. We'll do a lot of activities that is available to create the interest here. Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions? I'll give you 3 more minutes to ask questions. 3 more minutes. If you are clear of everything, please say all clear, all clear, all clear, all clear. If you're clear of everything, please say all clear. If not, ask questions. Don't wait here without saying anything. That's bad. You will fall asleep, right? Which is not good. like everyone is saying all clear. No more questions? No more questions? So if no more questions, I'm going to go to the last part of mine. If no more questions, I'm going to go to the last part of mine. If no more questions, I'm going to go to the last part of mine. Which is, okay, no questions? Okay. Which is, what could happen on the exam day? Shall you hear some guesses? What could happen on the exam day? What kind of a company are we? We have 174 locations. Each location is a student accommodation attached to a university. We have a lot of students inside our buildings. How many students? 78,000 students in all 174 locations. We are responsible for them. We are responsible for them. We need to protect them. And they should be happy. So more will come. We have a competitors. A lot of other people are there. A lot of other people are there who are providing student accommodation. Right? A lot of other people are there who are providing student accommodation. Okay. So let's look at bad things that could happen to us on the exam day. Tell me few bad things that could happen to us on the exam day. Few bad things. You go to the exam, there's an email from your boss. The boss is crying. Boss is crying. You can see in the email that he is crying, saying that, look here, this happened yesterday. There's a big problem available. This will have a huge impact on our company. I don't know how it happened. Can you please help me to resolve this problem? Bad things that happen. So can you please tell me few bad things that could happen to us? Tell me few bad things that could happen to us on the exam day. Anything bad? Anything bad? Please type. Get involved. We are going to finish in 9 more minutes. We are going to finish in 9 more minutes. We'll finish in 1 hour today's session. So I have 9 more minutes. Students started to leave. My gosh. So students started to leave in a big way. You know how the exam paper will look like. There is a bad news for you. There are a lot of complaints from the students in the last 1 year. There are a lot of complaints from the students in the last 1 year. They were not happy with our security. They were not happy with our security. Right? The students were not happy with our services. But now, this semester when we started, we have only 60% utilization. Out of the number of beds available, only 60% is utilized. Rest of the beds are free. We don't have enough number of students. We are only break-evening. Last year, we had huge profit. Can you remember? Over 200 million profit. This year, we can't because a lot of students have gone. Then, examiner, that's a very good point. Came from Charit Bandara. That could happen on the exam day. Then, examiner will ask, how do we increase the number of students? How do we increase the number of students? Someone else is saying, bully of a student, death of a student. Inside our accommodation, something happened. One student is dead. One student is dead. Something happened inside our accommodation in the night, yesterday night. My gosh, this is on all the newspapers today. Flat hole inside their building. Yesterday night, one of the students died. Our share price will come down. Our share price will come down. All the students will get worried. Parents will start calling us. Universities will start calling us. What is happening? People will try to leave. Share price will come down. What shall we do? That's what examiner will ask. That's what examiner will ask. That's what examiner will ask. Yeah, that's okay. Then universities are promoting online education. My gosh, super. Universities are saying we'll teach online, forget about accommodation. We don't need accommodation. Very bad, but we are going to do. Countries' migration law change. Superb. That is happening in the entire world now. Migration laws are changing. We are not taking many foreign students because those foreign students who are coming in, they are killing our country. Therefore, we are not encouraging them. Our business will come down. Government implement a new tax for student purpose-built student accommodation. Super. That's the negative side. Okay. Positive, what could happen? Okay. Tell me how we can expand our business. Positive side. There is an opportunity available to expand our business. Can you please tell me what could be the opportunities available to expand our business? Now, positives. What could happen on the exam day? Positives. Tell me positives. What could happen to us on the exam day? Positives. Things. How to expand. How to expand our business. Recommendation from the university. Universities are saying, why don't you go to this student accommodation? Flat told, they are the best. Go there. Very good. We can accommodate. Superb. Provide accommodation for office and working employees. Not only for student accommodation. Now we are putting up a new building for the families, for the people who are working in the companies. Right? And new schools are opening. New universities are opening around us. Provide scholarships. New universities are coming up in the area. So they need more and more accommodation now. Introducing loan schemes, superb. We sign up with a bank will pay for the accommodation, and the student can pay the university over a period of next 10 years after they get the job. So those are the positives that could happen. If the positives are there, I invest in another country, superb. We are only in one country now. We can go into a new country. So look at that example. We can go into a new country and start student accommodation. Examiner will ask, what are the risks available when you go into a new country? How do you manage the risk available when you go into a new country? Examiner will ask how to find money to open student accommodation in a new country. Are we going to borrow loans or are we going to go for equity? How do we do that? Those questions are the questions that will be there on the. So I think you are given superb ideas for the positives and negatives. Let's start from the next. See what could come on the exam day and how ready we are to face to that. How ready we are to face to that. Thank you very much, guys. We'll start the session from next Sunday. Our admin team will update you on the timing. I'm looking forward to meet you on next Sunday. Start our session. Of course, we will talk a lot about. Things like this. First thing first. Right? We will, of course, talk about things like this. First thing first. These from the Stephen R. Covey, the one who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's the book that you shall read. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a book that you should read. It talks about 7 habits. First 3 habits are about self-improvement. Other 3 habits are about group improvement. 7 habits is about continuous sustainability. First 3 habits are about how you become better. Second 3 as a group. So first 3 habits are absolutely critical for all of us. We should read the book. I'll give you a summary of the book as we go on as well. Goodbye. Thank you for coming. My name is Shan. We are from Nanaska. We'll ensure you pass the exams. You gave me a lot of ideas of what could come on the exam day. Let's see them with the mock papers. Thank you very much. Good night. Goodbye. I have 2 more minutes left. So I finish on time. Bye. See you next week. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Tatsarni. Thank you, Puneet. Thank you, Salam. Thank you, Charit. Thank you, Godfred. Thank you, Pankaj. So we will be in touch. See you next week. Start the fun from the next week. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Abigail. So take care. Bye. Good night.